Yes, that is right. You read the title correctly. Hello everyone, and welcome to the finale of the HornZ Horror Hour. We had 8 horror films, all recommended by viewers on my Instagram story: Child's Play, Possibly a Michigan, Scream, Jason X, Truth or Dare, Halloween, and today, Thinner vs. A Quiet Place, Part 1. So today what we're going to do is pick the winner of this round, and then look at all the other films that have won so far to see which should win the entire tournament. And if you're wondering why that's not in a separate video, that's because it is literally the end of October, and I don't have enough time to make 2 entire videos. You've all been waiting for almost a month, and it's finally here. So let's go and start with... Alright, I'm just gonna say it now, this movie is kinda mid. It's not bad, I enjoyed it, but it's definitely not amazing. Thinner at times was pretty goofy, especially with the way the magic and all that was portrayed, but it had a pretty solid ending that was also kinda sad. One thing that was super good in this was the acting though, especially from the main character. You can really tell that this thinning, is that what I'm supposed to call it? I don't know what to call it. It's called the thinning now. You can tell that it's screwing up with his well-being by not only the way he looks, but also the way he's acting. You can tell it's really messing up with his mental health, because the small actions he does, the way he moves, the way he says specific things, it's definitely the best part of this movie. Especially the white man from town curses you scene. I thought the acting was really good there. In terms of story, it's similar to my opinions on Child's Play, which is funny because I think they're both either directed or produced by the same guy. There were small things I didn't like, but hey, at least the ending was good. Sorry that Thinner's little review thingy was this short, but I just can't think of anything else to say. It's a decent film with a cool twist ending, and I think I'll give it the same score as Child's Play. About a high 6 out of 10. But now, A Quiet Place, Part 1. Wow. I genuinely thought this was a Quentin Tarantino film when I saw everybody walking around without shoes. A Quiet Place Part 1. Man, I don't really know what to say. This was really good. And no, it's not because I have a bias for John Krasinski, who did look pretty awesome in this movie, by the way. This is a movie about having to stay silent because there's these monster things, I don't know what they're called yet, and they have this ability to hear extra good. And by extra good, I mean don't cough too loudly or they might chase you and rip you in half like a Kit Kat. This movie was intense because of how cautious everyone had to be, meaning that no one could talk as well, because talking at even a normal volume can alert these alien things. I think that's another reason why this movie was and felt so intense, because of the lack of dialogue. So you know that when you hear a sound, no matter how loud or how quiet, something bad might happen. A lot of people might not like the idea of basically no spoken dialogue for most of the movie, but I had no problems with it because of how well Krasinski used the idea of everyone communicating in sign language. Everything in this movie, to me, was just so good. The color grading, whether it was night or day, the colors used were just so perfect for the atmosphere and the world of A Quiet Place. The sound design and editing was just fantastic from start to end, and it just got everything right. A movie basically being purely focused on sound is something I don't think I've ever seen before, and A Quiet Place proved that it can be possible and well made. Also, the acting was just mwah, chef kiss. John Krasinski obviously being the MVP of this movie, but
that's why he's the GOAT!
But Emily Blunt also did a super good job at playing her role, especially during the bathtub scene, where I was super nervous watching that. And the child actors surprisingly weren't annoying, which is always good in a movie. But, oh my god, the monsters. At this point, I think most of you, unless you're new, know that I'm a sucker for a good monster design. Berserk, Devilman Crybaby, Dark Souls, which is basically Berserk, heck, even Minecraft. I loved detailed monster designs, whether it's their weird monster alien anatomy that makes them so unique, or just the raw look of it. I love that kind of stuff, and A A Quiet Place thankfully did not give me a bad monster. The way they run around and crawl all over the place when they hear the tiniest sound is so creepy and makes the scene so intense. The way their weird faces open up as if they were some weird shell-like Demogorgon with that awesome weird hyper hearing thing. It's all just so cool. My only complaint about this movie is ginormous spoilers, by the way. John Krasinski's death. That made me very mad, and there better be a plot twist in part 2 about John Krasinski being magically alive, or else I will be very upset and disappointed. Editing Alex here. I watched part 2 of A Quiet Place, and my disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is now ruined. Jokes aside, I really liked his final scene, and I thought it was beautiful and well executed. Overall, it's just a really good movie, and I am super excited to watch part 2. 9 out of 10. Super interesting concept that was, in my opinion, super well executed.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
Which means, everyone, it is finally time. Who will be the winner of this tournament? I decided to do it this way, just opening up a new project in GIMP and actually moving each movie, because I feel like that would be funner. Possibly in Michigan versus Scream. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Possibly in Michigan. It's funky, weird, and was able to have an interesting and intriguing story with such a short runtime. But to put it against Scream? Oh nah. Scream's logical characters and realism alone is enough to make Possibly in Michigan cry in the corner because of just not being good enough. We will give Possibly in Michigan a participation trophy though, for not only being the first film on this tournament, but the first good film. Which means sadly, Possibly in Michigan, I don't know why I'm moving him back. If Possibly in Michigan won the first round, he shouldn't be moving back, but I don't know what I'm doing. But this means Scream gets to move on to the final round. Halloween versus A Quiet Place. Also, we can just move Thinner out of here. I don't even know why I added 2 versions of Thinner here. Man, these winners are pretty obvious, not gonna lie. Though Halloween is not a bad movie, I just don't think it can match A Quiet Place. It had a more interesting premise, cast, antagonist, and just overall a better story for me. And I don't want to see any, but Halloween reinvented the horror genre and the slasher films, wah! Because you just sound like Dragon Ball fans at this point. Halloween, though influential and impactful to many, just didn't live up to the hype for me. Because of the story being kind of boring, besides the opening and ending scenes. A lot of the middle felt annoying to sit through. I won't deny that Michael Myers as a character is super interesting and cool, but I just sadly didn't get to see enough of it in the first film. I get why, because they wanted to set it up for sequels in the future, but I think you get my point. A Quiet Place easily knocks Halloween out because, to me, it was just better in every way, though they are 2 completely different kinds of horror movies. Which means, hold on, A Quiet Place is so tiny. Let's make A Quiet Place a tiny bit bigger. There we go, that looks better. Much better. And here we are. Oof, this is difficult and exactly what I thought was going to happen since the beginning of the tournament. This is super tough because Scream is a film that is so different than the rest with its brilliantly well-written characters and story, and having a twist ending that I never saw coming. It was a film that was logical and made fun of its own genre, shout out to my boy King Randy, but Quiet Place. A movie that used sound as the main focus, had a really interesting world shown to us, while also focusing simply on their farm, super cool monsters, and John Dang Krasinski. This was extremely difficult to pick, and though I think that these 2 could be interchangeable because of how great they are in their own way, because I feel like I've always been more of a sci-fi guy, it pains me to say that Scream is the winner of the HornZ Horror Hour, is what I would say if I was lying. A Quiet Place is not the No, I'm kidding. I think that A Quiet Place is gonna have to be the winner of this tournament because of the idea and the world the viewer is thrown into. I also really liked the familial bond in this film and, well, the sci-fi stuff. The monsters are some of the coolest sci-fi monster things I think I've ever seen, and I think that for a part 1, it was an excellent start. But yeah, that's it. It's been like a month of this, and we finally have the winner of our tournament. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and if you did, please hit the like, subscribe, comment, share, all the great buttons that help support the channel, so that we can hopefully hit 3,000 before the end of the year. Also, make sure to check out all the other socials. Instagram, more horns for wacky and gaming, same for the podcast. And if you all want to see how I ranked these films in order, don't forget to check out my Letterboxd, where I not only have a bunch of different lists for things like the DC AMU, Dragon Ball films, anime films, a lot of other kinds of lists, I also decided to make one for the Horns Horror Hour. So if you want to see which is the worst, which is the best, and all that stuff in the middle, check out my Letterboxd, linked in the description below. That's it from me though, and get ready to see a lot more anime content, because it's what I've been wanting to do for a while. So thank you for all the support for this little series, because the Horns Horror Hour was something I thought of last minute at like the end of September and thought, yo, this would be kind of a cool idea, because I've never really watched horror movies. And that's a huge siren. And it seems that most of you liked it. But that's it for this video. Like I said, hit all those buttons if you enjoyed. And yeah, I will see you in the next video. Goodbye. Woo. Woo.